Everybody, Mark here with Micro Resort Academy. Guys, I have been in the construction industry for over 20 years. Me and my family now own and operate our own micro resorts. We have set up tons of different ranches in Texas, one being an $8 million ranch that is still going today and going strong. They have, weekly bookings, short-term rentals. They got everything, hunting, all kinds of stuff, okay? Because we incorporated everything that we know into their business, and they are moving on, and they're moving on strong. Guys, the biggest thing with Airbnb is, what if they go out of business? Okay, everybody's like, oh my gosh, that can't happen, blah blah blah. It can happen, and if they go out of business, I would say 90% of the people out there that do short-term rentals, micro resorts, they would be out of business because that is all that they have been dependent on for so long. Okay, let's say that Airbnb, they send you, every single 100% of your clientele for a year. Okay, they get you in at a 60% occupancy rate, and let's say you just have one cabin. All right, this is John's Rentals. All right, John has one rental, 60% occupancy, which means he's rented that thing for 219 nights. All right, 219 nights. That's great. I mean, if like we've put up here, the weekdays for Airbnb is 40 to 55%. Fridays is 50%, 65%, Saturdays 60% to 80%. Okay, so which means most of your rentals are happening Friday, Saturday nights. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, everybody thinks that I don't have to do nothing. Airbnb's got me. Like I said, one, what if they go out of business? Two, they don't have you. Okay, you still have, there's a problem whenever we say Friday, Saturday, you're getting booked, but then you got one that covers 5 other days. All right, that's horrible. Okay, so these are freebies. These are the ones that make your Airbnb either go above, or your short-term rental, we won't call it Airbnb, your short-term rental or your micro resort actually blow up. And if you're not worried about 40 to 55%, then you probably need to get in a different business. All right, because that is horrible. But that's why we're here. That's what we're going to talk about today is John's direct bookings. Okay, so with a 60% occupancy rate, 219 nights. All right, 219 direct bookings, you get about 10% of return clientele if you incorporate what we teach you at the Micro Resort Academy. All right, so let's say you get 10%. That's 22 nights free. Okay, you get 22 nights that Airbnb isn't taking their fees out of. They're not, and that's the other thing is, whenever you get those nights coming in, you get to see. That's whenever you get to take the deep breath, and you're like, holy cow, 22. If they're taking 15 to 20%, that's a lot of money off of 22 nights that you get back. All right, so just think about that. Off those 22 nights, if you do a 10% off of that return clientele, you got another 2 nights coming from the 219. All right, but this isn't all you get. Okay, the one thing that you have to do to get return clientele, to get direct bookings, is first off, you got to have a landing page. If you don't have a landing page where these guys can actually go and book through, or a phone number that they can call and directly book through you, it obviously doesn't work. Okay, so if you don't like people, you probably shouldn't be in this line of work. All right, horrible choice of a career. But right now it says repeat bookings don't happen automatically. Okay, we're just going over that. They don't happen automatically. Okay, first off, it can't happen automatically if you don't have the landing page or a phone number that they can get a hold of you. And if you're not willing to give out a phone number so that they can get a hold of you, then you might as well just pack it up. All right, but I can promise you, Airbnb is still growing. They're growing like crazy. So you know what that means? They're pushing people to multiple properties all over the place. They're not pushing them to John's rental. Okay, they're pushing them to an area. If they want to go to an area, they're pushing them to all the people around you. Okay, so how do you keep those people coming in? Email capture, bounce back offers, relationship marketing, experience differentiation. Okay, email capture, that's the biggest thing. You should be building your email base every single time. If somebody's staying there, if you do not get their email, that is horrible. That's a loss. Okay, that is the biggest loss you could possibly do. Yes, they paid you to stay there. They also paid Airbnb to stay there. Okay, so what do you want? You want them to come back. You don't want them to come back through Airbnb. They came to your place. They're your customer. You paid the 20% to Airbnb to get there. Okay, they got paid for their visit. Thank you, Airbnb, for sending somebody to me. Now it's your job as as a micro resort owner or a short-term rental owner, it's your job to get their information so that whenever you have all these openings during the weekdays, you can send them an email that says, hey, Monday through Friday, we're taking off 10 or 20% if you book directly. Go to this website. Okay, you're taking off 10%. Well, if you take off 10%, you're still making an extra 5% because Airbnb isn't charging their 15. Okay, and not only that, this is the relationship marketing right here. Okay, so you sent them the email. Okay, now they email you back, hey, we're interested. Okay, now you can email back and forth. Okay, you keep that relationship going. When they get there, introduce yourself. Okay, so now that person is like, you know what, these people are really great people. They didn't just book through Airbnb, come to your short-term rental or your resort and say, well, we didn't see anybody here. There was nobody here. It was like a ghost town. We let ourselves in because everything's automated anymore. And, we just left when we were done. There was nobody here. Okay. People nowadays, they don't want just to be, left alone. They don't want people to just, I'm sure there's some people that just, leave us alone. We'll be in the cabin. Don't talk to us. Don't do anything. Okay. But other people, they get a kick out of learning who owns this place. Tell us a little bit about the area. Tell us a little bit about your experience here. This is a big thing to people nowadays. Okay. They want to be a part of something. Okay. And so the email capture and the relationship marketing, that's my two biggest ones. That's our go-tos. And but like I was just coming up here just to reiterate, guys, whenever you look at how many people Airbnb sends you, okay, they're taking theirs right off the top. Okay. If somebody books today and they take in the money, Airbnb gets their money right away. You have to wait. You have to wait to get your money until after the stay, and then Airbnb will, pay you for your stays. If you book directly and they go to a website or they call you, you take that money in, and they may not stay for 2 months. Okay. But you've already got their money. You've got working capital that you can, deploy back into your business and use that to grow your micro resort. Or if something happens, something breaks in your Airbnb or your short-term rental, something that you couldn't afford to fix. Well, now you're taking in direct bookings and you can afford to fix things. You can afford to do little things here and there because the money's already coming in. Okay. What the smartest thing is, oh, wow, well, what if this needs fixed? Before they get there, you fixed it. You use their money to fix it. And now they don't have a problem, which hopefully they don't have a problem anyway. But what I'm just getting at is, it is money that belongs to you, not Airbnb. And whenever they book that rental it's booked. The spot is taken up, but you don't get paid until after they leave. Direct bookings, totally different. You get paid as soon as they book. Okay. So guys, just go back through the numbers if you need to, or if you would like me to, put in the comments. I can send you this in a PDF. This was actually just kind of thrown together. I had some people talking back and forth, and they needed me to kind of draw them a picture. So if you need anything else, like I said, get with me. We appreciate you. Please subscribe to the video or to our channel, like our video. And if you haven't, go visit microresortacademy.com and look at what we have to offer. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.